Hello, brothers and sisters. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Thank you for learning and respecting the English language, allowing us to continue to connect the world peacefully. I love you all. My name is William Power. I have a multilingual YouTube, a multilingual Spotify account, a multilingual TikTok, and a multilingual Facebook. The TikTok is more used for language progress. My Spotify account has multilingual music. I have my multilingual Facebook is active daily, mostly used for advertising for myself and others. And then my YouTube is used for more official work. And like everybody, I appreciate whatever support I can get. For several years now, I have been conducting intense world language studies independently as an individual. As a result of my longevity and dedication to my language learning, I am now efficiently communicating in 8 languages without full fluency, but efficiency. Some of the languages that I speak is because they have been introduced to my area and they have been very practical languages to learn. Some of the languages that I speak, it's simply because I like the languages a lot and I can learn them fairly easily. So some are more hobby and some are more practical. For example, muera se podi mirar y me encanta hablar español, pero they're so close to English, I didn't have any trouble really learning them. But the languages that I have introduced to my area that I've also developed are Mandarin, Hindi, and Filipino as main languages that I get to use locally. However, recently I have been developing a lot of Malayalam. Ito puti mo tana. Speaker Kalmalasa Nakano, and I'm happy to develop whatever language I can and help in this way naturally. As far as I know, there's nothing but respect in language learning. I am trying to respect you, so thank you for your respect, if you can respect me in return. I would like to speak to you about language learning in general. At first, you don't know enough of the other language to only have your mind in the new language. However, once you get a little bit into it, it's really best that you keep your mind in the language that you're developing. One thing that was very efficient for me and continues to be, during study time, make sure there is music or a movie playing in the language that you're developing. And if you feel like your mother tongue is getting in your mind too much, interrupting your study of the new language, stop studying and just pay attention to the entertainment that you have playing in the background that is still in that language. Just stop studying and focus on the language that you're hearing until you feel ready to go back to study. Another thing you can do is you're going to have to say a lot of the same things until you build a vocabulary. And it's okay, it's just the process. But some of those more useful phrases will become your confidence phrases. Those are things that you don't really stress when you say them because you know you can say them well because you have experience with it. So if you find your mother tongue getting in too much, you can also stop studying and reference your confidence phrases either out loud or even just think it, because you can think in the new language as well, and that still helps develop when it comes time to express yourself. Thinking in the other language rather than forcing yourself to say it out loud can be helpful when it comes time to say it out loud. It's still a lot of processing within the mind. And in learning a language, there's listening skill and reading and speaking, comprehension, and they're all separate skills. And to be fully fluent, you need to develop them all, but you don't need full fluency to communicate efficiently and fluently. You don't need to know every word in the Mandarin library to be able to communicate with Mandarin speakers. And the same can be said about all the languages. You can still know a few phrases, and in that, a lot of the other languages that are less common, well, they're very used to being more direct in public. If you learn, hello, how are you, I'm good, thanks, and bye, in a language that you know has been introduced to your area, well, that will be enough to respect that person and use their mother tongue, but they will know that they are in a new area and will be happy to speak the language of the land otherwise. I try to speak about it broadly because although a lot of my perspectives have English involved where English is my mother tongue, English doesn't have to be involved. The same applies if it's Vietnamese into a Mandarin area. You could still learn Xin Chào and Cảm ơn, tạm biệt, Zai Si, Yung Pu Tong Khoa, Ni Hao, Xian Xian, Zai Qian. So it's still enough to respect somebody that has a language that's been introduced to your area regardless. Now, it doesn't matter how many languages you speak, there's still thousands that you don't. Your language is important, but it's not the only one. And so in these language talks in which I am ultimately hoping to increase the awareness to proper language development at this time, since we have actually developed English as a world language, I'm trying to say thank you for respecting English and offer some respect in the other way as we continue to develop English, but not lose mother tongues, respectfully. So in these chats, I like to focus on the 4 significant languages being the 4 most spoken languages: English, then Mandarin, then Hindi, and Spanish. So English and Spanish are both on that list because wide geographies learn them. They're fairly modern languages in compared to Hindi and Mandarin especially, and they're used in a very, very similar way globally. A lot of people learn it. It's fast and modern. Now, Hindi and Mandarin are on that list due to population and not due to the fact that wide geographies are learning them. So I strongly encourage us to kind of smooth those top 4 out just to offer the language respect over the top 4 languages at least. That covers, like I said, English, Mandarin, Hindi, and Spanish. We still need people learning English and Spanish globally. That's how the languages are being used. And respectfully, English to Spanish is like Hindi to Punjabi or Cantonese to Mandarin. They're not the same, but knowing one helps you learn the other. So we still need English and Spanish in that way. However, there are a lot of Mandarin and Hindi speakers that need some language respect. I'm happy to offer respect to those speakers as well, naturally. Anglici significa Danyavad. Kanske Shweshi Yingyu. Mesama Jato Hun. Warming Bai. So, one great way to smooth languages out is with movies and entertainment globally. So then there is respectful opinion, which includes all the tone markers because they're not there for nothing. And if we're going to have proper language development, well, we need to respect the speakers. This is a sensitive topic, but I won't harp on it. However, we are very used to using disrespectful opinion. I would love to see that change for the sake of respecting other speakers. I understand the alphabet issue, and that's why opinion is so useful. Proper tone markers should be available to be printed anywhere. You're not going to properly learn the language without the tone markers because, again, they're not there for nothing. Pinyin avoids the alphabet issue, but we still need some of the alphabets because, obviously, we need to respect the speakers and we need people in those areas writing and keeping those languages going. But in reference to globalization and proper language development, respectfully but directly, when I'm in public and I'm able to communicate in someone else's language, never do they ask me, do I know how to write or do I know pinyin or authentic print generally, unless I get into it. People are just generally happy to use whatever language you know. And if you can read pinyin or you can read authentic print, you're still able to talk to that individual and respect them. And they generally appreciate that. So in reference to applying all of this, I know there's a bit to say about it, but I've done a lot of study. I'm trying to help a lot of people in this. So in reference to the subtitle, to tie it together, regardless what language that movie is in, that language should be attached to that movie as a subtitle option. And directly, I know this sounds like a fantasy world, and it is a bit, I know, but we should have the 4 top spoken languages pretty much as options to help people expand, at minimum, the top 4, understanding that we're appreciating people sinking time into our mother tongue when they don't have obligation to, just because they like the language and they're trying to help the people. So we want to be able to smooth them out somehow. But it's a big task. You can include a language without learning a language. By listening to the music and including the movies and the entertainment, well, subtitles are always available, regardless what language you're starting with. And especially if we stuck a lot of subtitles to the top 4 languages, well, you would be able to develop any language on your own in that way. And when you're watching a movie, the subtitles are not really good for teaching you the language always, because they don't really line up. Even English to Spanish, the subtitles, they're meant to guide you through the movie. So sometimes when you're developing a listening skill, you'll be reading one thing and hearing something else, because that's not the function of the subtitle. The subtitle is guiding you through it. So, in reference to the subtitles, for example, one issue I had in developing Hindi is I can't get Hindi subtitles on a Hindi movie. And it's very frustrating to me as someone trying to learn the language. मैं मदद करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ. So, I don't know if you are familiar with Bollywood, but I definitely am. And I love everything I've seen. So, luckily, English very much so is accepted and used to connect the Indian people as well. So I'm able to get English subtitles to help me understand the movie, but obviously the Hindi subtitles would be helpful on a Hindi movie, but that's a single example because, again, you can apply it to any language. Mandarin subtitles should be on a Mandarin movie, and Spanish on Spanish, and again, whatever language. So I hope this has been a useful chat for language development. Thank you all very much for your time and energy and your interest in proper language development at this time. Peace and love is in all of our human hearts. And now, with the development of a world language like English, we can make sure that that message is spread to all of the world's children on our quest towards world peace. Thank you very sincerely for choosing the path towards world peace. May the powers that be the powers that set us free. Peace and love to all. Thank God again. Bye for now.